In this study, to monitor the brain state corresponding to different mental activities, we are interested to use EEG signals, which are appropriate measurement about the brain electrical activities. Nonlinear signal processing techniques may advance our knowledge to characterize brain activities during cognitive tasks. What is our method? In this study, we analyzed the electrical activity of the brain using EEG data from subjects performing a cognitive workload task. We are going to apply wavelet-based analysis to capture the changes in the structure of EEG data that we have before and during mental arithmetic tasks. The spectral analysis is performed to detect the changing distribution of spectral contents of EEG signals. For our results, we noticed that the wavelet-based analysis and spectral entropy are appropriate approaches to quantify the time-varying and non-stationary nature of EEG recordings. They are going to define effective framework to discriminate different cognitive activities. In conclusion, these methods provide deeper insight into the structure of the cognitive architecture by tracking the changes in the distribution of time-varying spectrum. Here in this slide, we can see two different EEG systems, 1010 and 1020. To localize cognitive tasks, we may need to measure the changes happen in electrical brain activity. The potential changes which are recorded on the surface of the brain are result of the changes occur in electrochemical brain activities. The electrical signals are recorded as the EEG signals. These EEG signals are being used frequently to diagnose different neurological disorders. The most important one is epilepsy. Moreover, these EEG signals are going to show us they can be used actually in pattern recognition, and they have been used a lot in this area, which are an indicator of cognitive workload. Studying cognitive workload, which illustrates the level of mental resources used during a specific task, can be done easily using these EEG devices. EEG-based measure of cognitive workload, such as spectral features of the EEG, has been used to classify different mental arithmetic tasks at different levels: low workload and high workload, and also relaxed. The reason for making EEG measures to be an efficient classifier of mental workload is their sensitivity to variation in task difficulties. That's why we are going to use in this research EEG data. In this research, the EEG records were collected using Neurocom monopolar EEG 23 channel system. This data which is provided here. All electrodes were referenced to the interconnected air reference electrodes. And the sample rate was 500 Hz per channel. There are more information regarding the data is provided here. Let's look at the different methods and approaches that we applied in this study. So one of the methods is spectral entropy, as we mentioned. The spectral entropy measures the uniformity of energy distribution in the frequency domain. Basically, spectral entropy computes a spectral power of distribution of a signal aligned with its forecastability, and it is based on Shannon and information entropy in the form in the information data. In another word, spectral entropy is a normalized form of Shannon entropy that takes the advantages of using the power spectrum amplitude components of the signal to evaluate the entropy. Here we can see the signal x of t, and the power spectrum is given by s of t tilde. This x tilde defines the discrete Fourier transform of the input signal. We find the probability distribution as p, t, and tilde, and then using this probability distribution, we are going to find the spectral entropy h that can be written in the following form. Another method that we applied here is called discrete wavelet transform, DWT. The discrete wavelet transform, DWT, performs a wavelet decomposition approach by applying the wavelet filter to non-overlapping windows of the time series data. This discrete wavelet transform may be calculated using multi-resolution analysis, which is an effective, fast procedure, which was initially applied to image compression. We can see the formula to find this discrete wavelet transform here using the input signal. While the discrete wavelet transform applies a coarse time frequency discretization to speed up the process, however, the continuous wavelet transform performs a time-consuming procedure, which is near continuous discretization of the time scale and frequency scale to make sure we have a good resolution. Human brain is the center of cognitive activity, and it's uncovered the brain states during different mental activities. So as we said, we need to employ these appropriate methods and measurements. As we can see here, for a noisy signal, the spectral entropy becomes close to 1, and for a pure tone signal, the spectral entropy will be approaching to 0. In figures, we are displaying the spectral entropy of a signal and compare it to the original signal that we have. We also plot the percentage of energy for each wavelet coefficient in the figures. This plot is computed using continuous one-dimensional wavelet transform, and then we display the metrics of the continuous wavelet coefficients. Here we can see the results is showing. Let's look at the data before mental arithmetic task and during the mental arithmetic task. In the left-hand side, we are presenting these two different data. So in wavelet-based method, we analyze the signal by windowing of different size. So we window the signal of different size, and in each window, we are going to extract the information that we are looking for. What is the importance of this method? This is actually very helpful when we compress or stretch the wavelet using a scale variable. This analysis actually is based on the frequency of the signal. So using the time frequency analysis, we compute the spectrum of the EEG signals that we have. It's going to be helpful to extract different features of the data. When we apply discrete wavelet analysis to characterize the continuous time-varying EEG data by the knowledge of the discrete wavelet transform, we decompose EEG signal using wavelet transform. And what would be the next step? Next, we calculate the wavelet coefficients. You can see in the figures here, we are providing the computed discrete wavelet coefficients. As we can see, analysis using wavelets analysis can be used to detect the changes in EEG signal across different time scales. While if we could use another method such as Fourier transform, we were not able to capture the instant changes when the frequency of EEG signal changing. According to the results obtained from wavelet variance analysis, we easily can observe there appears to be a change in the variability of the data. Analyzing the variations happen in variance is important since it often represents the fundamental changes that happens in mechanism of the data generation. We directly plot the respective wavelet variance in a log-log plot. Since there could be many practical setting result of contamination, such as outliers, which can seriously bias the standard estimator of the wavelet variance, we represent the wavelet variance plots with contamination as well. But the figure displays changes in variance of the recording of the background EEG before mental arithmetic task and during the mental arithmetic task. Also, we are computing the spectral entropy. We calculate the power spectrogram of EEG signal, and then we compute the spectral entropy of frequency bands within the bandwidth of EEG signal. We plot the spectral entropy of all EEG channels recorded before and after mental arithmetic task. As we can see, the spectral entropy of all EEG channels recorded before and after mental arithmetic task display different patterns. The changes happen in the signal spectrum during mental arithmetic task is visible in the spectral entropy plots. Therefore, the spectral entropy measure could distinguish between different mental brain activities. Thank you so much for your attention.